gentlemen, welcome to Leppy Duels, episode 24. I'm your host, Jacob Arkinson, and we are presented by Jarvie Media. It's Worlds Week, and we are excited to celebrate that here on Leppy Duels with some world-based questions, a world-based episode, and a fantastic cast to back it up. You guys know how the show works. If you don't, go check out a previous episode. Let's meet this week's cast. First up, defending his title from last week, he's the brand manager at Latitude 64, and he is on site at Smuggler's Notch, Mr. Seth Fenley. Taking on Seth in the first round, also in Vermont this weekend, just hanging out, he's DGA's Trevor Harbold. Our next guest hails from Grand Rapids, Michigan. He's the brand manager of Great Lakes Disc, Brian Papa Wolf Frawley. And our final guest this week is the owner of Crew 42. It's Zach O'Haron. Thanks for joining us, all four of you guys. I'm excited to see you guys tackle these worlds-based questions this week. We've got some fun ones coming up. First question, we've got Seth and Trevor duking it out. Trevor, you're going to be up first. Fox Run, Brewster Ridge, those are the featured courses this weekend at Worlds. Is that course combo the best course combo that we see on tour all year? Trevor?
Hell yeah, dude. I think that, first of all, you got the woods, real tight woods of Brewster. Very tough shot selection. You've got all the types of shots, sidearms, backhands, turnovers, everything. You've got beautiful woods to play through with OB in the middle of the woods. You've got just great holes out there, and I think that just complements so well with the openness and the diversity of Fox Run. It's one of my two favorite. Both are probably in my top 10 favorite courses of all time that I've played personally, and I've played over 450 courses. And to put them next to each other and play for a world championship here, I think is just undoubtedly the best combo that you could probably put for a world championship with two courses. So, yes, I think it's the best combo courses. I don't think there's other two courses on the same property in America or maybe even in the world that are just as beautiful and complement each other with open shots and the wooded shots. So, I don't think you can go wrong with that statement that you said.
All right, Seth, you heard what he had to say. What do you got?
Yeah, so I think that Trevor took it in a very narrow sort of direction in regards to what's happening in this upcoming week and framing it around Pro Worlds. I think that if we think about what the question is, which is what is the two best combo in the sport, I think we have to think about the context of that question and other different combos that might exist besides PDGA Worlds. And so, for instance, if you think about Northwood Black, Sunset Hill, I would tell you that that is the best combo for FPO competitors in the sport. It gets you an open course in Sunset Hills, it gets you a wooded course in Northwood Black, and it gets you tee pads on every hole that were designed for the FPO game. The reality is that even though Brewster and Fox Run are great courses, even those courses do not have FPO pads on every hole designed for the FPO game. Beyond that, you want to think about another combo, which is how the course combo lines up for spectators. And I can tell you definitively, based off of all of the logistical planning that we've done for Worlds this week, that Brewster Ridge is not lined up for spectators. And so that's a whole nother consideration that wasn't given here.
All right, Trevor, respond.
All right, so you told me that it wasn't about Worlds, and then at the end of your thing, you talked about how it's not a good place for Worlds or whatever. But I don't know for spectating, but Northwoods Black is not great for spectating either. So going beyond that, if we're going to talk about best course combo, I think, and this is me personally, I do like Sunset Hills. It's a great course for the women for sure. And I mean, you could even say that Eureka is a decent course, but up here in Vermont, it's also about, we're in Vermont, right? Like, it's a beautiful place. You have beautiful sights everywhere you throw. Every time you throw a shot out in Vermont, there's something to stare at besides your disc flight. There's mountains, there's beautiful shots here. In Illinois, it's not even close. So I think the best course combo also goes with how beautiful the course is, how well it plays for all people, being that it's in a destination spot. Illinois is not really a destination spot. I would much rather come to Vermont and play two wonderful courses that feel like a fairy tale instead of going to two courses that do not feel like that to me. So,
all right, Trevor. Seth, bring it home.
Yeah, so Trevor just spilled a bunch of reasons why it's actually hard for this course combo to be one of the best ones on tour, specifically in regards to this whole idea of a destination spot. When you bring in the idea of a destination spot means money. And I can tell you that when I first got into the sport, I never dreamed that I would be in Vermont because I knew that personally I can never afford to be here and spectate or see these courses in person. The beautiful thing about Northwoods Black and Sunset Hills is that that place is in a place where it's economically achievable for people to come spectate, but more importantly, it's in the center of the country where it's easier for more people to get to it, to see it, and experience it. In fact, the first course combo on tour that I saw in 2017 was Sunset Hills and Eureka because I could afford to drive there because, spoiler alert, in 2017, the Pro Tour didn't pay me to work for them. I volunteered to be there. And so I drove myself there to be at the first event that I worked for the Pro Tour because it was economical and easy to get to.
Okay, well said from both of you guys. I think you make great points. It basically comes down to Seth saying the Ledgestone pairing of courses is better than what's at Smug's Notch that we'll
Even
be
though he brought
watching
up
this
3
weekend for
courses
Worlds.
and not 2. He brought up Sunset, Eureka, and Northwood. But whatever. No
Fair enough, Trevor. It's a good point. I think you guys both made good arguments to defend your sides, but I'm going to go back to one tiny point at the beginning in one of your opening statements, and that's bringing in the specific design for the FPO in Central Illinois versus what we have at Smug's Notch. I think that was enough to differentiate Seth. The rest, the spectators, the location, I think it's a wash, but Seth's going to take the edge on that point alone. So it sends us to duel number 2, Brian and Zach. Brian, you're going to be up. What is Worlds missing that can bring more eyes or more prestige to this event, Brian?
I'm really sorry that I get to go first on this one against Zach because there's only one answer to this question. We could beat around the bush and we could say, live coverage of side events or a better keynote speaker, as Seth would tell you. But what is going to bring more attention to this is cash. It's money. It's straight cash, homie, as Randy Moss would say. If we look back at some of our other prestigious events around the area, we just look at that 2022 Worlds. Kristen Tattar won. She got 11 grand, and Paul McBeth won. He got 20 grand. But then we flip it over to the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship, and Ricky Wasaki got 35 grand, and Kristen Tattar got 35 grand. Or we go to USAGC, and Gannonberg gets 25 grand. This is the World Championship. I think as a sport, as a general movement, as everybody that is involved in this in some sort of way from player to investor needs to do what they can do to make Worlds the biggest purse each year.
Money, 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 says Brian. Zach, where are you going?
Yeah, I think this involves a couple different things as well. So first of all, I would like to see the Worlds have a standardized format. We've seen it change over years. We saw like Ken Climo play where they played like 6 rounds in a final 9. We see 5 rounds in the current era. It changing can make the format itself confusing. So I'd like to see it kind of formalized and formatted. I have ideas for that, but that's for a different debate. I'd also like to see, for the more eyes part, I would like to see partnerships with bigger companies. And to build off of Brian's point, if you have someone like ESPN that you can build for World specifically and get more eyes that are not disc golf directly related to see the sport, I think that will grow it. I was working for the Disc Golf Network recently. I was sitting in the hotel watching TV, and all of a sudden on one of the ESPN channels, I saw Soccer Golf World Championships. It was really crummy footage. It was on hole 18, but immediately I was kind of like, wait, what is this? And I looked into it, and I'm thinking to myself, what if disc golf was on ESPN? That would get more eyes, potentially more sponsors, and that would get more money into the sport. And then last, for prestige, I would say we spend a lot of time in the year seeing updates about USDGC, who got qualifying spots, things going on for that event. And we don't see that hype or that kind of thing happening throughout the season. I would like to see more of that happening so we kind of like build up to Worlds as well.
All right, Brian, why do you deserve to win this duel?
Because the answer is still more cash. It's more cash for the people putting on the event so they can find bigger sponsors so they can bring more cash so that we can then sponsor more side events and get footage and get more exposure. And then maybe a little Christmas present once we have all that cash, DGN's free this weekend. Boom. Then we get more exposure. I think we can do that. We can look at how much it costs per weekend to run DGN and have that plus Oh yeah, just cash for the payout too.
Zach?
Money is really important. I think just getting money, like expecting someone to throw a bunch of money to get those things to happen is unlikely. Getting partnerships to get more exposure, to not just get more money, but get more eyes in the first place, like I said, with ESPN, with other bigger channels, will help bring in money, do exactly what Brian wants, but with a more reasonable plan. And then also adding those other elements, like I talked about, making the format more official, adding more things to make hype going into Worlds so it more prestigious, whatever the case may be, will build on top of that as well. And so that we'll have a nicer overall event. I feel like my plans builds up to a little more reasonably, other than just throw money at it, which we don't know where that money's coming from. My plan at least addresses that.
It's a fair point, Zach. I think your plan does kind of address that. However, I like simplicity here on this question, and yours got muddied down by a lot of different ideas all thrown together, which, fair point to you. I do like all the ideas, and I think they're valid. But I think cash is definitely the answer here, as demonstrated by Brian. So Brian's going to take this win, sends us to duel number 3. We've got Trevor and Brian back up. Trevor, you're up first again. Ulti World released on their podcast earlier this week some betting odds, not official betting odds by any means, but some betting odds that they put together for Worlds. So we're going to break this into 2 questions, FPO and then MPO. You guys have FPO. Looking at these odds, where are you spending your money for Worlds this weekend, Trevor?
Well, I mean, with the line that shows right there, I'm betting on anybody but Kristen. My money, I'll put, $100 on anybody and they win. I'm gonna get a lot of money. So that's easy question. I think the odds are pretty in Kristen's favor with the way she's been playing this year, but I think the odds are a little favored a lot. I think there's other people that can contend just like Kristen, but if they're going just off of this season, then look what's up, Dick. Then I think that the odds are probably right. But I'd put my money on anybody but Kristen on those odds right there, because I'm going to get a pretty good payback if one of them wins. So that's really it.
All right, Brian, why do you deserve to win this duel?
Hey, yeah. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, if we were smart investors and we wanted to, put our kids in college, we'd bet Kristen. We'd take that $100 and we'd bet it, and we'd win $25, and we'd continue to do that. And that's how people on the stock market get rich, and that's how people that play mutual funds have a nice retirement. That's not me as a bettor, though, and we're talking about betting odds here. So we need to get a little bit crazy and do a little deep dive. Specifically looking at Katrina Allen. Katrina Allen is the best ratio to cash, I think. Her or Missy Gannon, both with the same odds. That's a great payoff bet. Betting 100 to win 2 grand. Would love either one of those bets. But personally, if I was putting 100 down, I'd break it up into 3 or 4 bets, maybe 25 on Katrina, 25 on Missy, 25 on Valerie Manahondua, and then I'd throw a long shot out there. Love the Jen Allen at 150 to 1. Why would I not want to throw that money on there? But yeah, that's what makes it exciting. And if any casino out there wants help setting these odds, I'm always down to help.
Brian is willing to help the casinos. All right, Trevor, defend yourself. You didn't necessarily pick someone in particular.
Well, like, if I'm putting money down, I'm putting money on Ella Hansen. You're giving me $100 for 5,000. Like, I'm definitely doing that one. She's got a good game. She's been close a lot. I mean, and that's a good one. You've got Katrina Allen's a good bet too, but I'm sticking my money on Ella Hansen just because I think that she, out of the people they have on that list, I think she's got the best odds at 5,000 to 1. So, give me $100 on Ella. He can take his 25 on all the rest.
Good stuff. Trevor's throwing everything into one basket here. Brian, why are you splitting it up, and why are your bets?
Well, I'm a diverse income type of guy. I like to make sure I have lots of different revenue streams, and one of those will be picking the winner. So again, I would put 25 on Gannon, 25 on Allen. We'll go 25 on the other Allen, and then give me 25 on Val. Give me one of those 4 to win so Trevor can look like so sad next week.
All right, put your money down. We'll see what happens next week. Good stuff, guys. I think, Trevor, I do like your answer. I just wish you had led with it in your opening statement instead of just picking everybody but Kristen. So for that reason, I got to give Brian the win here. And that's going to send us to duel number 4, which is MPO based. Same thing, Ulti World odds that they put together on the podcast earlier this week. Who's up first? It's Seth. Seth, where are you going with your money?
Yeah, so I think we have to look at the history here at the course, and the history here tells us that Ricky Wysocki is the person to put the money on. It doesn't matter even where he's been playing throughout the season, but Ricky shows up and shows out when he's on these two courses, and so Ricky's going to be my top choice. But I, much like Brian, like to diversify, and so I'm going to take a long shot on James Proctor. He's been playing great this year. These courses still favor his game, and I think that he's a great person to get some odds on and make a big payday. In the middle, if I were to diversify just a little bit more, I'd take another previous champion at this course in Chris Dickerson. I think that he has what it takes to come out here and win. He likes woods golf. Zach doesn't like that idea, but guess what? He's a guy who's won at the course, and so he has a little bit of data to back it up, and I think I'm willing to put the money on the guy who carried the American flag into opening ceremonies tonight.
Okay, Zach, where's your money going?
Whoa, first of all, you're not putting, apparently for all y'all, you're not putting all your money on Chris Dickerson. That's your third choice and partial money. I'm looking at this, I'm putting all my money on one person right now because, let's do this real hot take here. I'm looking at the course. I'm obviously not Paul Macbeth. He's been injured. Just had his interview. He's talking about his shoulder, so I'm sorry. I don't think he's going to do it. For me, my take's Isaac Robinson. He's on the rise. He just took third at Idlewild. He just took 7 at Deglow, which is a course I would not call him favored at. He's right in that money line, right between the favored and the kind of the drop-off area. He won a major championship. He's won this season. I think he has the opportunity. He's currently playing well to be able to take this event. Last year, that same event where Ricky won that Seth was talking about, Ricky won the event. Isaac took third or second, lost by 3 strokes. It was a close battle there. I think this is Isaac's year where he could walk away with this based on this course. Ricky, on the other hand, based on his health, we've seen some inconsistencies. He's normally really good at Ledgestone. He had some really rough Ledgestone moments. I don't know. I think Isaac's the one to go for here if I'm trying to make some big money here.
Okay, Seth, you heard what Zach had to say. Defend yourself a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going to say the mantra of all investors: diversify, diversify, diversify. The reality is that I gave you 3 really good picks, 3 good picks that can give you different odds and a different payoff. Zach's going all in on Isaac. Isaac, sure, maybe he has some good top finishes out there, but at the end of the day, he's also new to the tour. He doesn't have consistent winning pedigree outside of the past 2 years, whereas Ricky has literally won this tournament more times than Isaac has played it as far as tournaments on this course. So I would take Ricky, I would take Chris Dickerson, I would take James Proctor even, who doesn't have a win on tour, above Isaac.
Zach?
Well, Paul's won more than Ricky's won, so obviously we should pick that too under that logic. Unfortunately, that's just not how it works. If Ricky's not healthy and can't guarantee he's healthier, we have no idea what it's going to be. As for the diversify, obviously if I'm trying to make a solid investment, we can sit here, analyze the numbers, spread my money around to try to mitigate how much I can win or lose. Obviously we can do that. We're sitting here talking about where am I going to get the biggest bang for my buck? Where am I looking to kind of capitalize the most if I had to make an all-in investment? And that's where I would do is Isaac Robinson. He's playing better than Ricky right now. He's on the rise from Ricky right now. He's healthy. He's shredded here. He's really good at shot shaping, which is really relevant for these courses. I'm looking at Isaac, and if I'm making a big bet here to see if I can walk away with a big payday, that's the guy I'm going with.
Good stuff, both of you guys. I love the diversification, Seth. I think Zach swung me over, though, with his rebuttal. Way to drive it home. Good stuff. I hope Isaac pays out for you this weekend. So Zach's going to win this duel, sends us to the next one. Zach, you're back up. You're first. You're taking on Trevor. You guys are debating player packs. Very common for the amateur players nowadays. What is the most overrated player pack item, Zach?
I'm going to give you comments here because people are going to hate me. I'm going to say tobacco and marijuana products. Personally, for me, there are 3 things that I have a problem with. Not everyone uses it. That's a problem. Like, I don't use it specifically for personal reasons. So, like, it doesn't do me any favor to take money out of the pool to give me that. It's not disc golf direct, which means if you give me something, I can't use it on the course because guess what? You can't use weed on any tier. And I don't know if this rule is still in place. I'm pretty sure for like tobacco products, you can't smoke on A tiers or higher. That could be wrong in that, but that used to be a thing. I just have a problem with those products being offered as the player pack. As prizes, as them sponsoring stuff, I don't have an issue with that. Just like beer and NASCAR, I don't think there's an issue with those things happening. But just as a player pack item, I have a problem with that. I don't use it. I know a lot of other people don't. Can't do anything with it. I'd like to see something different.
Okay, Trevor, you're in the professional ranks, but you know very well what's going on down below you. So what's your take here?
I have no idea what a player's pack is. What's a player's pack? I think the most overrated thing is the frisbee. Let's be real. I think you get so many different kinds of discs and so many different kinds of things. Like people sometimes don't even throw it, and they're just like, I don't even want this, and they give it away or they sell it and make money and don't even try it. I don't know. I think the disc is probably the most overrated thing. I can use all kinds of other things like a tobacco stick or whatever. I could use whatever people give me, but if I am sponsored by if I'm on a street team of say like Discraft or something and I get a Prodigy disc, I'm not going to want to throw it. So I think a disc is probably the most overrated. While I think it's great to get newer players stuff in their hands and get discs in their hands, I think the disc is probably the most overrated. I don't know. I've never gotten tobacco products or marijuana products in a player's pack, but also I don't get player's packs, so I usually just get a little book that tells me how to play the course, and I don't really play it that good, so I should probably read that book a little more. But other than that, I don't really know.
I love it, Trevor. Zach, go ahead and defend your statement and respond to Trevor a little bit.
Yeah, Trevor said that he thinks it's the most overrated, but also thinks it might be good for newer players. Like, that's kind of self-contradicting. And I think that there's a point to talk about the disc. If you were to say, hey, I have 100 buzzes, I'm going to give it to everyone in this tournament, there's limited choice there. And so I understand Trevor's point. But there are tournaments like Brian has hosted them where I walk up and there's a table full of different stacks, different molds, and I get choices, not only of something I could throw, but I could pick something that I could give to a friend of mine, something I could sell that's more reasonable other than the disc that you're giving me. So disc can be good in the right situation. But again, back to my point on my stuff, you can't use my stuff in sanctioned tournaments. You can't use that in that capacity. That's a problem. Not everyone uses it. It's not directly disc golf related. I have a problem with that. So I prefer to see a disc over those other products, marijuana and tobacco.
All right, Trevor, can you get a win today?
Yeah, that's easy. It's basically we've argued on this episode and many episodes before this about bringing in other sponsors and getting more money from different things, and I think tobacco and marijuana could be a potential sponsor that we could get a lot of money from. So I don't see how that's a bad thing. Just because you don't use it, I don't use Prodigy discs, so I don't want a Prodigy disc if I'm playing for them. But again, I don't know what a player's pack is. I haven't got a player's pack probably since 2001, since when I was an amateur. But so really everything's overrated to me because I think you guys get spoiled when you get a player's pack. I don't get a player's pack, so I don't know.
Trevor wants players packs for the pros because he's not reading his caddy book. So you heard it here first. I think what this boils down to here, both your answers are fine, but I think what it boils down to is that Trevor talked about how you can resell a disc that you get and how it could be useful for newer players. Zach is demonstrating why a tobacco or marijuana product wouldn't be useful in a disc golf setting right away. And also to certain players. So I think that's going to give Zach the edge here. Sends us to the final duel, Seth and Brian. Brian, you're up first. It's going to be the debut of the Leppy Duels Hot Stove. Give us a hot disc golf take, and then go ahead and defend it in your rebuttal. Brian, take it away.
I've given this show plenty of hot takes, including, relegation and Worlds should be outside of this country. But we're going to go with a really specific one today. And I'm looking at you, Seth. The hot take for this is the best disc golf snack is the pistachio. And if you can't agree with that, you're just wrong. So the pistachio is jam-packed with so many good things that you need. First of all, dietary fiber. Big thing. Helps you poop. Very important. It's got a little bit of fat, but not all the bad fats. And it's got tons of protein to get you going on the course. But more importantly, for me and my ADHD friends, it's a little activity to do in between shots. It's like, ooh, look, pocket nuts. I get to open it up. There's a prize. Instant reward every time. Prize in the mouth. And then you're like, I'm in nature. I want to give back to nature. Here is the shell. Go onto the ground. Become one with the ground. maybe we just see some pistachios growing, at Garfield Park. It'd be great.
Pistachios in Garfield Park. I cannot wait, Brian. Seth, what's your answer here?
So I was going to do something completely different, but I think talking about food is way too much more fun, and it sounds like this is going to be a recurring segment. So I'm going to talk about the pocket sandwich. The pocket sandwich is the best disc golf snack. And why is it the best disc golf snack? Because one, it's ridiculously too large for you to be carrying it anyways. It's not going to actually fit in your pocket. You're going to probably stuff it somewhere in your bag. Not only are you going to stuff it in your bag, but when you stuff it in your bag, it's going to get all mushed up. It's going to be kind of awkward. But at the end of the day, it's going to sustain you a whole lot longer than 1 pistachio, 2 pistachio, 3 pistachio, 4, 5 pistachio, 6 pistachio. I'm going to want some more. And ultimately, what you're going to want is a full sandwich. And a full sandwich is what's going to get you there to tide you through the round, so that you can be a little bit better than Trevor and actually play those courses somewhat better than what he's been playing. So you go for the pocket sandwich all day long.
Poetry, shots fired at Trevor. Seth's got it all, defending the pocket sandwich. Brian, you heard what he had to say. Why is it pistachios?
No one buys just one pistachio. That's just plain boring. Everyone needs the pistachio. They come in multiple different colors. They come in different sizes. They come in different shapes. You can get some dusted with fancy things like chili or honey roasted or some sort of garlic that I would be allergic to and have some sort of incident on a whole one at Riverbends. No comment about that. But in general, the nut is going to fit in all of your pockets. It's going to fit in your bag, and you're not going to have to worry about it getting squished. It's got its own protective shell. The sandwich is just lame, Seth.
Seth, defend your sandwich.
Well, so the beauty of a sandwich is that you can make a sandwich that fits for just about any sort of allergy type. In fact, they make gluten-free bread. They make tons of different types of substances that you put in between those pieces of bread, whether it's gluten-free or not. The reality is there's a lot of people out there on the course that have pistachio allergies, and it might even be your card mates. And while it could be a thing to try to get ahead, I wouldn't personally suggest it. Putting a pistachio in your competitor's pocket, dusting it with garlic so that they can have an allergic reaction. I'm sorry. I know that, sometimes I try to get a leg up on you on the course, Brian, but that probably wasn't my best showing. But the pocket sandwich, you can always make it. It's always going to sustain you more. And props to the guy that I saw carrying an entire foot-long Subway sandwich in his bag. I thought it was ridiculous, but he was a whole lot more full than I was at the end of the round.
Well said. He definitely was more full than you at the end of that round, Seth. Well done taking a fun spin on this first hot stove question here on the show. Thanks for doing that, guys. I think I've got plenty of knocks on both your answers. Why would I want a squish sandwich in my bag or my pocket regardless? Sounds not fun. Pistachios, you got to work for it. When you're in a round using your fingers to throw discs, I don't know, Brian. I really don't know. And for that reason, I want to see a tiebreaker, because I don't think either one of you deserve to win that. So we'll give it to Seth. We got a 3-way tie. And Brian, you're up first. Seth, you're up second. Zach, you're up third. Tiebreaker question for this week. Name your own new disc mold. Brian?
Oh my goodness, what a fun and exciting problem. I don't know where I was headed with that sentence. Anyways, we're moving back on. Way back in the day, I was working with Gateway. They offered me this great deal. Richard, who you saw walk in earlier, and I were thinking about great things. Unfortunately, Richard can't think of anything appropriate that we can mass produce. So now I've only got 42 seconds to tell you about the dung. Yep, just the dung. The funniest disc I've ever seen in my life was a model of a cow pie, and those of you from the Midwest know what a cow pie is. And my dad bought it at a rest stop when he was visiting out west, and he thought it was the single greatest thing, and he made me play catch with it and gave it to me. And it's still in my garage to this day, like 25 years later. And everyone likes poop. It's funny. It's marketable. It will sell. It will be gimmicky, just like the glitch. But let's have a dung. I think it will be fun for everyone to have a dung and throw it around.
Okay, Seth, what's your name?
Yeah, so I thought about a few different ways that I could take this when I was trying to think of if I can name a disc, what would it be? And I came up with what is the most versatile disc name that I think exists, which is the PMFDX. What is the PMFDX? Well, it's my take on all of the ridiculous acronyms that we give our disc, and ultimately it stands for putter, mid-range, fairway, driver, X, whatever the X in Prodigy disc stands for, or whatever the X in PDX stands for the Discmania people. So why do we have the PMFDX? We have it so that your disc can literally be whatever you need it to be. It can be your putter, it can be your mid-range, it can be your fairway, it can be your driver, it can be your extra upshot disc. The PMFDX, the disc for everyone.
Well said, Seth. Zach, what's your take here?
I won't lie. I 1000% did not think I'd be in a tie for the last thing, so I didn't even look at this question. So I don't even know where to begin with this. I don't know if off the top of my head, things that I've liked recently, I really like the Discrafted, like the Greek god theme. So I don't know. I'd pick something themed along maybe World War II tanks. I don't know, like the Sherman M4 or something. I'd pick something that would be themed that I can pick multiple names out of if I wanted to make more of them. But I'd pick something that people like know by name, the Sturman tank. There you go. I don't think I'm gonna win this. I'm just here for fun. Thanks for letting me be here.
All right, so we've got the Dung, we've got the PMFDX, and we've got German tanks. This one's completely up in the air. Brian, tell me why it's you.
So the Dung is a great catch disc. You know, it's a little bit soft, it's a little bit hard. It comes in a couple different colors: green, brown, black, even sometimes yellow. But it's for short distances. You know, just a nice little catch disc, back and forth for you and your buddy in the parking lot. You know, toss me that Dung. People would turn around. People would look. It'd be great marketing right away. I think we should think about this.
Seth, why is it the PMFDX?
There we go. Okay, so Brian's answer was crap. Zach's answer was a piece of World War II machinery. And what I gave you was an actual disc. Sure, is it not unique because it's making fun of other manufacturers? I guess. But the reality is that it is the most versatile disc. We don't even know what Zach's disc is. Brian's disc, it sounds like we might not be able to use it after the first time we throw it. And so because of that, I think that I'm winning because I came up with the only right answer, or the only real answer.
Zach, can you redeem yourself here on your rebuttal?
Oh yeah, the Sherman M4 does exactly what the Sherman M4 does. It's like, I don't see where the confusion is. First of all, I feel like the Dung's best version is probably when it's dropped right behind yourself. That's the best possible throw. And as for Seth's disc, I don't think the disc would know what it's supposed to do once it's in the air. Is it supposed to flip? Is it supposed to hyzer? Everyone knows what the Sherman M4 will do. This has been the most fun I've ever had, regardless of who wins. Thanks for including me in this.
All right, thanks, Zach. Obviously, we can't include you in the win here for this episode, but thanks for participating. So it comes down to the PMFDX versus the Dung. And you know what? Let's start throwing some Dung around the course. Why not? Brian, congratulations. You've got the win. You've got the floor. What do you got for us?
It's great to be back in the winner's circle. More importantly, it's great to see Trevor's face where he's just sad when I win. It fills me with joy. Hey, I want to give a shout out to all the people that are pros that look towards this weekend as a giant pedestal, as something to get to. The first time pro that is attending Worlds. Congratulations to you. I have many friends that are there for the first time. I wish you all the best of luck. I hope you take in every moment of the experience and remember this, because you've really done something that only a small percentage of the players in our sport get to do. So congratulations to you all.
Thank you, Brian. Congrats again on the win. Zach, Trevor, Seth, thanks for being here. Seth, enjoy your week at Worlds. And all you guys at home, tune in, watch the World Championships this weekend. It'll be awesome stuff to follow. And check in on those betting odds. We'll see if Zach can have some money pay off for Isaac Robinson. Other than that, enjoy your weekend. Tune into Leprechaun Hollow Skins match presented by Great Lakes Disc also dropping after round 2 of Worlds. That'll be good. If you haven't subscribed yet, obviously do that. We love you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you all next week.